for those of you starting questions right now on when you should start your lawn renovation, of course I'm in the middle of the Midwest section here in Iowa, and typically for bluegrass it's a little bit longer, so I'm going to plan to plant this right in mid-August or so. A few things to keep in mind with that are that you need to make sure you have your watering in place and figured out, because if you're still in August here where we live, it can still be plenty hot, and so you have to factor that in. If you're going to plant in August, you're still going to be dealing with some heat, and that's good because you're going to get a lot of germination, because the more heat there is there and the soil temps are up at this time of year, it's going to help with that germination, and it might happen a little bit faster than, say, if you waited a little bit longer, or if you are going in the spring when our soil temps are very low. That's the reason why it's also not as successful usually in the springtime. But right now our soil temps are way up. I haven't checked them again recently to see exactly where they were at, but during our heat spell I know some of our soil temps were over 80 degrees. But in terms of seeding with those soil temps and germination time, it's going to help. So just make sure you have your watering in place and do not let the seed dry out. So if you have an irrigation system, get that thing dialed in. If you don't, and I had not had one up until this year, I have a DIY kind of system that I always used using above ground sprinklers, and you get them placed in the right area, get some timers going or whatever you need to do to keep that going during the day, and I think you'll have some great success. I also have a video series completely on lawn renovation from last year when I did the other south side of my house. And so if you're looking to get a jump start on all of this whole process, then check out that series. I will link it here at the end of the video and in the description too. I also see a lot of questions about why does certain grass seed cost more than the other stuff, or why is grass seed online? Some of the better varieties cost so much more than what you get in the store. Well, so there's trials that are done at various universities on grass seeds and test plots, and the ones that come out of there as the best, meaning they have the best color, the best texture, the best disease resistance, those are just to name a few, those are put at the top of the list and are known as elite varieties. And so those ones are more expensive then, because you're paying basically for that best of the best of the grass seed. And it's not to say that the ones in the store aren't good. Some of them chosen just might be some of the ones that don't have quite as good color, or there's various different things that are chosen there just basically so that the budget of them is something that's within reach for most people that go to a store and they want to buy a bag of grass seed. But back to this specific stuff here and why it might be more expensive as well, which is really important to note, are the amount of weeds that are listed in there and the amount of other crops. So when you're doing a lawn renovation, you certainly do not want to be shooting yourself in the foot by adding in a bunch of weeds with the seed, or even more importantly, the other crop that's in there, which can be Poa annua, some of the rough grasses that are really hard to get rid of in a yard anyway. You certainly do not want to put them down when you're doing the seeding, if at all possible. So that's something to think about. So especially here on weeds, we have 0. On other crop, we have 0. That's really important if you're going to want the best of the best yard. When you're doing a full lawn renovation, I just recommend you spend the money at that time and you get the best seed that you possibly can. There's various places you can get the best seed. You can go to landscape supplies, you can find some things in your area, or you can find some other places online in addition to Seed Superstore here. But just pay attention to those tags, look at your weed seeds, look at your other crop again, and the stuff that's going to be expensive is going to have 0 of that in there, but there's a reason for it, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that too.